Well, no matter how much you think these politicians hate you, you don't think that enough, folks. Chris Dorr here from Ohio Gun Owners. We just got done with an absolute slugfest of a floor session. Actually, the floor session's still going on right now, but I got to tell you, Republicans in the majority just voted down the Ohio Freedom to Carry Act. It just happened a couple of minutes ago. It's the biggest gun bill that has come before the Ohio General Assembly this entire year, and the majority of Republicans joined with the entire. Actually, that's not true. They joined with most of the Democrats to vote no on the Freedom to Carry Act. I got to tell you all about this. Jump here into the comment section. Let me know where you guys are checking in from. I'm outside. I think it's on the south side of the State House lawn right now. But here's what just happened, okay? We've had this bill, House Bill 382, I think it is, by Representative Jennifer Gross. It's called the Freedom to Carry Act. It's been stuck in the Ohio House Public Safety Committee, where anti-gun Rhino State Representative Cindy Abrams has been refusing to hold committee hearings on it for months, all the way since like October or September of last year. Rhino Republican Cindy Abrams, the chairwoman of the Ohio House Public Safety Committee, has refused to move this. So we were forced to use drastic measures to get this legislation on the floor today. And I am so proud to have partnered up, Ohio Gun Owners partnered up with pro-gun champion State Representative Jennifer Gross. Folks, remember her name, Jennifer Gross. She's one of the best Republican representatives I've ever worked with in my life. This lady stands about this tall on me. She weighs maybe 110 pounds, but she's got more guts and more chutzpah than any of the other, well, the vast majority of Ohio House Republicans. So her bill's been sitting there this entire time, getting totally sandbagged by leadership. And don't forget, anything that Cindy Abrams as committee chairwoman does is done at the orders of Speaker Matt Huffman. That bill's been sitting there this entire time. So Representative Jennifer Gross partners with us, and she's like, you know what? Let's just amend another public safety bill on the floor, and that happened today. House Bill 667 was another public safety bill. It came out of the House Public Safety Committee from Cindy Abrams, the chairwoman, and this little rocket, Jennifer Gross, had the absolute courage to go and file the amendment, and the way she did it was great. She filed the amendment literally 5 minutes before the deadline to not give anybody a lot of notice. She filed the amendment. The amendment was in order. It was a public safety bill. Her bill is in the Public Safety Committee. The Speaker could not rule it non-germane because of these things. And so when the time came, she stood up courageously and moved the amendment, and she did such a fantastic job. She forced a roll call vote on the Ohio Freedom to Carry Act. And let me tell you what this bill does. The Freedom to Carry Act is the cleanup bill that comes back and gets everything that was left on the table when we passed permitless carry back in 2021, I think it was, maybe 2020. This bill makes it so that any lawful firearm or tool that you own to defend yourself, you can carry it, you can possess it, you can transport it. If you have a rifle and you want it in the front of your truck with you, you get to do that. If you own a suppressor and you want to have that accessible to you, because we see all these raging leftist mobs doing what they do now, if you want to have those things, you can have them under the Ohio Freedom to Carry Act by Representative Jennifer Gross. The Speaker was violating the committee process. He wouldn't let anything go, so Jennifer Gross stood up, and I got to tell you, she was backed by a whole cluster of rock-solid conservatives that had her back. We were totally ready. If the Speaker ruled it non-germane, there was people lined up that would absolutely question and appeal the ruling of the chair. And I'm going to go through some of these Republicans that voted pro-gun. I don't have the entire breakdown. We're going to be doing videos in the very near future about some of the Republicans that voted against your Second Amendment rights. I couldn't believe that they did this, that they took this anti-gun vote on the cusp of the 2026 elections. They voted against your Second Amendment rights on the floor of the House. But I want to go through some of these Republicans real quick that did the right thing. They voted in favor of the Ohio Freedom to Carry Act. Representative Tim Barhorst, Jamie Callender, Thad Claggett, Levi Dean, Angie King, Tex Fischer, the sponsor of the Ohio Second Amendment Protection Act, he voted the right way. Ron Ferguson, who defeated Matt Huffman's hand-picked rhino, Frank Hoagland, in this primary a couple weeks ago, he voted the right way. Jennifer Gross, obviously. Thomas Hall, Representative Johnson, I don't exactly know who that is. Jeff LaRe, Beth Lear, Brian Lorenz, Adam Mathews, Ty Mathews, T. Moore. I don't know who that is either. T. Moore. Gene Schmidt, Representative Sims. I think that's a Democrat. Folks, we've got Democrat crossover votes on this pro-gun legislation. It just happened just a little bit ago. Former Speaker Jason Stevens voted the right way. He voted yes. He voted for the Second Amendment. Again, this is the speaker that put the Second Amendment Protection Act on the floor of the House for a vote last General Assembly. He voted the right way. DJ Swearingen, one of the architects of the Ohio Second Amendment Protection Act, he voted the right way on this legislation. Great friend of gun owners. And then, of course, the lovely Michelle Teska voted in favor of the Ohio Freedom to Carry Act. So, folks, that's 20. I think it's 20 there. Different legislators that voted the right way. I think there's like 65 Republicans right now in the Ohio House, which means that roughly 45 state representatives, Republican representatives, joined the Democrats and voted no on the biggest piece of pro-gun legislation in this entire Ohio General Assembly. If you can't get a Republican to vote yes on a pro-gun piece of legislation in advance of a very tough base turnout election, they will never do it for you. They will never do it for you. So I want you to understand this. In the coming days, in the coming weeks, and especially in October, when we go into some of these Republicans' districts, I want you to understand these people hate you. They don't care at their core about the Second Amendment, and to them, the Second Amendment is a political football to be used on the chessboard of what they're trying to accomplish here at the State House, which is, as again we know, they failed to deliver on property taxes. They gave a great big huge billion-dollar bailout to the Haslam family for the Cleveland Browns. These Republican rhinos are passing everything for the special interest groups except for the Republican base. There's a bunch of other bills up here today. A totally neutered data center bill. They're not doing anything about safeguards to make sure our water and all those things are protected. They're punting on the Senate Joint Resolution to secure our votes. They're open, and a lot of these Republican legislators will absolutely vote to let these Haitian, over in Springfield, let these Haitian temporary status illegals vote in our election system. And that's what these Republicans are doing. They have not delivered on one single major substantive pro-gun Second Amendment piece of legislation since they ran in the 2024 elections, and now they joined the Democrats to vote against this really robust piece of pro-gun legislation. Again, for those of you who don't know what the Freedom to Carry Act is, it simply comes back, it makes Ohio probably the strongest constitutional carry state in the country by making it so that any legally owned firearm or weapon or tool that you own to defend yourself, you can carry it, you can possess it, you can transport it, you can put it in your truck, you can do whatever you want to with it, because we all know the freaking criminals, they never follow these laws anyway. So this was a tremendous move, a gutsy move, one of the most courageous moves I've ever watched a state representative do, right in defiance of their corrupt leadership. That's exactly, there's no other way to describe this. The leadership here in Ohio is totally corrupt. They are totally in bed with these foreign interest organizations, these special interest groups that only really view Ohioans and our resources as something to consume for themselves. That's why you see going all the way back, and I'm sorry if I'm starting to sweat. It's kind of hell hot out here, Africa hot, whatever you want to call it. But you look at some of the financial reports by some of these state representatives and these state senators, and they're getting massive amounts of outside the state donations into their coffers from these special interest groups that totally want to milk the Ohio taxpayer, the Ohio native, dry. That's what's going on here, and I'm so proud of these 20 state representatives who did the right thing here today. And this is not a strange list to us here at Ohio Gun Owners. Tim Barhorst, Jamie Callender's always been a 10th Amendment guy, so he likes the Second Amendment Protection Act. Levi Dean is the son of former Representative and total champion Bill Dean here in the Ohio House. Ron Ferguson, again, this guy kicked the out of one of Matt Huffman's paid-for stooges, former State Senator Frank Hoagland, who was the one of DeWine's red flag gun confiscation bill sponsors. DJ Swearingen. I mean, these guys have been around the block now, and so a lot of people on this list here in front of me, they're not a surprise. But these Republicans, Matt Huffman, Cindy Abrams, this leadership team, I'm going to do a whole nother video very shortly about State Representative Josh Williams. Josh Williams is the guy who stood up and spoke against this legislation on the floor. He's the guy who just lost his congressional primary, and I think that gun owners probably dodged a bullet, because when the going got tough, Josh Williams folded up like a cheap JCPenney's $69 suit and ran interference for this corrupt Speaker of the House, Matt Huffman. So there's a lot to unpack here, but I would, as always, and this is going to piss, let me see. They were just up in that window just a minute ago. I could see them. This is going to piss some of the Speaker staff off, but I'm going to ask you guys to make a special contribution to Ohio Gun Owners right tonight, because there's several people, several Republicans that are going to likely be forced to pay a political price for something like this. Again, you've got people like Cindy Abrams. She's looking at a very tough reelect right now. She's in a district that's up only 5 points or 6 points. We need to hold these Republicans accountable. They need to be held accountable. Discipline starts at home. We've always said that here at Ohio Gun Owners. We can't go after anti-gun Democrats when we have anti-gun Republicans running interference for the Democrats, and that's just what happened here today. And so people like, Cindy Abrams, Andrea White, some of these Republican rhinos, these people who hate you and only care about what the political donor class here at the State House at Cap Square, that's what they call this around here. They call everything around here is called Cap Square, all right? So you look at some of these buildings behind me here. Of course, there's the Rife office building, but there's a bunch of buildings down that direction. It's all crammed full of special interest groups, lobby shops, okay? What happened there today is proof positive that a lot of these rhinos, especially a targeted few of these rhinos, are far more interested in delivering the goods for the special interest groups than they ever have been for their actual voters back home. This is a non-controversial gun bill. By the way, there's a lot of other states that have concealed weapons licenses. I think it's ridiculous that the state gets involved with your decision about what firearm you choose to protect yourself. Yeah, they're just absolutely preposterous, but there's a lot of other states that already have concealed weapons licenses. One of the major things in the Freedom to Carry Act was that it lowered the age to carry from 21 down to 18 years old. Like the rest of, legals, these 18, 19, and 20-year-olds they got to pay taxes, they can vote, they can go off to war, they can get married, they can raise families. They absolutely deserve the ability to defend themselves, and that was in this bill that these legislators, some of these rhinos, just joined with the Democrats to submarine, to kill. So there's so much here that was such an easy gimme win. It was such a win. Honestly, the reason why we pushed so hard for this right now is because today, I guess I should say, and they're going to be going late here tonight, today is the last session day, very likely until the general election comes in November. Okay, they might come back for 1 or 2 days in September, but this is very likely one of the last legislative days, the last chances that they have to move this pro-gun legislation. And so now is the perfect time to put a gun bill on the floor to give gun voters a reason to turn out and vote. We need a reason to turn out and vote, and that's exactly what this bill was. But there was Matt Huffman, and I wish I would have taken a picture with a picture of this, but the Sergeant at Arms staff was on top of us like they always do, because if you sit in the People's Gallery, you're not allowed to take pictures of these legislators down on the floor of the House. It's preposterous to me, but they're the Speaker's Sergeant at Arms staff. We're there to make sure we couldn't flip our phones out and take photos of these things. And don't forget, like whenever there's the leftist mob in there, they let them do whatever the hell they want. But when gun rights people are there, they clamp down on us like you wouldn't believe. So now was the perfect time. And somebody just said, don't you understand? They don't care about you. That's exactly the message that is being sent by Ohio House Republican leadership. Right now, that's the message that's being sent. They don't care about you. They only care about their donors. They only care about the lobbyists. They only care about the special interest groups here. And there's a reason why national polling has the Democrat generic ballot at an advantage of 13 to 14 points right now. Folks, this is a catastrophic level of Democrat enthusiasm in comparison to Republicans. So the whole point here today was to give the Republican base something to turn out and vote for in November. But I wish I could have taken this picture. There was Matt Huffman sitting up there in the dais with his arms folded. He was in a rage. Matt Huffman was in a rage, and the entire message was, screw you, screw the Second Amendment, screw Article 1, Section 4 of the Ohio Constitution, screw gun owners, screw the gun vote, we don't need you. And that's the message that was sent here today. There's no other way to interpret what just happened on the floor of the Ohio House. So, again, 20 state representatives did the right thing today. 20 state reps did the right thing. And we're going to be unpacking this. We're going to be unloading this in the upcoming elections because some of these Republicans have to pay a price for this. So back to my earlier point, and they were there earlier. Yeah, they left now because I pointed at them earlier. But make a donation. Please become a member of Ohio Gun Owners. Please. This uniparty death grip on the levers of power here in Columbus needs to be broken. Ohio Speaker Matt Huffman has become an outright enemy of the Second Amendment, and we need to fight back against this stuff. We need to make them pay the price for it in these next elections. So go to joinogo.com, sign up and become a member. Go to donate to ogo.com and make a contribution. Help us go into their districts and hold these rhinos accountable for their total betrayal of your Second Amendment freedoms. So I'm going to have a lot more on this in the very near future. Please, you guys should be pissed. I'm pissed. This pisses me off. Every single one of these jackasses in here campaigns at election time, and they say that I'm going to go there and I'm going to fight for your Second Amendment freedoms. But the first time we get a major gun bill on the floor of the Ohio House, what do? They shiv you in the back. I'm getting a call from Josh Williams right now. He's the guy who just ran stood up to talk against the bill. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, folks. And that's the kind of resolve that you have to have around here at the Ohio State House. These politicians, they're very good at one thing. They have the power of personality. They want you to get in close. They want you to be like, oh, we're buddies up here. We're a big family. You know how it goes up here at the Ohio State House. You know how things work. That's not how we do things around here. That's why we followed the process. We introduced the bill back in October of last year. All right? And they've been stopping this bill in committee. They've prevented it from having even one single hearing. Speaker Huffman, Cindy Abrams, and the entire House leadership team, that includes Josh Williams, they have sabotaged and blocked this entire time. Thanks for watching right now, Wendell. Thanks for checking in. Raymond is checking in. Yeah, Bernie Willis, he just voted against the Ohio Freedom to Carry Act, Raymond. I'm sorry to tell you that, but like they always say, a lot of these politicians up here, they're like, oh, we're a big happy family, to my earlier point. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't come to the Ohio State House to make friends. I got plenty of friends. I got 10 kids. I don't need to be friends with the political class. We are here to advocate for gun owners, our members, and to make sure you guys deliver on your campaign promises, and then make you pay a political price when you don't. That's why we're asking for your contributions, folks. These rhinos need to be taught a political lesson. They need to be brought to heel. They have gone rogue. They are out of control. Matt Huffman is out of control. This guy's been in office consecutively since 2006, I think is when his first election was. These guys have been here. They are a permanent political class here at the State House, and they need to be brought to heel. The only way you bring these politicians to heel is during election season. That's why I'm asking you guys to join our organization and give us the resources necessary to go after them, to expose them, so that their voters in their districts know what lying, backstabbing bastards these people are. They're totally illegitimate. They campaign on promises that they outright turn away from once they get into office. We need to be able to go after them and expose them. So I'm asking you guys to make a contribution to Ohio gun owners today, tonight, right now, if you guys can. So it's donate to OGO.com. It's joinogo.com to become a member. Cynthia Brown says oath violators. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And anytime I do one of these live videos, thanks for that, Julie Lorenz. I appreciate that. Anytime I do one of these live videos about this topic, I read through the comments of people who are checking in, and I'm like, any single one of you have a far higher moral caliber of character than the vast majority of these politicians. These people are slaves to the donor class. They are slaves to the special interests. And it makes me so frustrated that these people, they view you as people to be milked. They view you, the taxpayer, as people to be bled dry to deliver great big fat wins for their political donors. It's a great big revolving circle. That's why the Haslam family is one of the largest contributors to Matt Huffman's political operations. It's because Matt Huffman got the Cleveland Browns after all the interest, $1 billion taxpayer-funded stadium bill through. What happens then? Huffman milks the taxpayer. All the money goes to the Haslam family. The Haslam family turns around and donates untold amounts of campaign cash to the Huffman political machine to keep the trains rolling. You see how this goes? And the same is true right now for all of these data centers and all this different kind of stuff. So they can push the bills for their special interest buddies.
Psycho gun freaks.
Yeah, see, that's what we're up against right there. One of these white, crazy, liberal, suburban freaks themselves who would happily see us disarmed in front of their Antifa buddies. So, but folks, please go to joinogo.com today, and help us expose these bastards for what they really are. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll be back with more later. Until then, stay free.